everyone, it's George here from Mini Madness. Today what we're going to show you is how to take out your existing John Cooper Works paper air filter element and replace it with one of our nice high flow filter elements. This paper filter element is actually very restrictive in terms of airflow, and the other thing is that it's very cost prohibitive to replace. So when this thing goes bad or gets really clogged with dirt, it's going to cost you in the neighborhood of 170 to 175 US dollars to replace. So what we offer is this, which is basically a high flow filter unit, similar to a K&N style filter made by somebody else, but basically it's a pleated cotton filter, washable and reusable for the lifetime of the vehicle. So with great care it can be used pretty much forever. And you can see by the inside of this filter here, this is a cutaway. It actually has a dual cone filter mechanism to it, which actually increases the surface area quite a bit, which means that you can go even longer before having to actually clean this. We do offer a cleaning kit for it, but you can see from the front here, it's got an internal cone. You can see from the cutaway there as well. There's an internal cone, and so that just increases the surface area quite a bit. And you'll also see too in this video how we can actually modify the little flapper trap door here to allow you to get the increased airflow through the vent underneath the driver's windshield wiper all the time, not just above 4,500 RPM, which is what the factory setup does. So stay tuned, we're going to show you how to do all that. Thanks. So today we're going to be installing our Mini Madness John Cooper Works air filter replacement. And this is the John Cooper Works airbox, and we're going to take it off with some simple tools, show you a quick and easy mod to make it perform even better, and show you how to install the filter in this video. First of all, take an 8mm wrench and loosen the two bolts holding the front of the airbox. You're going to take a simple pair of needle nose pliers and take off the factory hose clamp by prying it off, bending it back against itself. Just pulling that off and discard it. Then we're going to lift the positive battery terminal off the side of the airbox. It's just kind of sitting on there, and it's kind of plastic clamp on the side of the box. Just lift that. Kind of pivot it forward off of its mount. Pretty easy to do. And then the back here, you'll see there's a wire for the electronics on the fresh air intake valve on the back of the airbox. We're going to simply push that little metal clamp inward, so towards the front of the car. And as we do that, we can kind of lift up, and that comes out. So once again, you're pushing this metal clip forward, which allows it to be pulled off. Just kind of push that out to the side. Then what we're going to do is pull the hose off the front of the airbox. Just kind of pivot that back out of the way. Then what you're going to do, the airbox can be a little bit tricky to get off, so what you're going to do is there's two hook hangers on the back side of the airbox. So what you're going to do is you're going to kind of push the airbox backwards and then lift up and then pivot it out. Kind of like this. You can lift up, lift the back side up if you can. Like that, you can kind of feel when it comes out. And you also notice right down here below there's a little connector for the vacuum line that controls the flap as well, and we're simply going to unplug that at the white connector there. And we'll replug that when we're done. Pull that off as such. You can see that easy. Then we're going to try and pivot that airbox out. Now this car here is a John Cooper Works GP edition, so the airbox, or the intercooler cover, is a little bit larger, so it might have a little bit it'll be easier on regular John Cooper's cars. We're just going to kind of sort of twist and force this out of here, as such. And there's the John Cooper Works airbox, as you can see, with the nice restrictive paper filter element inside. So in our next step, we're going to show how to take this filter off, replace it with the Madness high flow filter, and then simply reinstall it. And we'll also show you how to modify the inside of this John Cooper Works airbox so that this flapper actually stays open all the time. Onto that. Okay, here we are with the John Cooper Works airbox fully uninstalled, and you can see the paper filter inside. What we're going to do is remove this, make that modification, and install our new filter. So first what we're going to do is basically remove the existing filter. You can do that with a Phillips screwdriver. Just simply take it, undo this front clamp here. You can see that on that well. Simply undo that. You don't have to take the screw out all the way, just enough to kind of release it. That way the screw kind of stays in there. Set that aside. And the John Cooper Works filter is literally just kind of pressed on after that, and just twist it back and forth a little bit. Slides right out. So there you are. This will cost you around $170 to $175 at the local dealership, so not really cost effective to replace it with the same thing going forward. Not only that, it's very restrictive for airflow with the modified engine. So there you go. So now what we have is basically the interior of the box, which you can see there's a vacuum actuator, and there's a little, if you look inside here, you can see there's a little linkage here that operates the little trap door, basically to allow the airflow to come in and out. Now this only works above 4,500 RPM with the car. Our view, and many others, is that this should be open all the time. On our intake system that we sell, we actually have a modified CalMod piece that has a nice 5-inch hole to allow that air to flow in. So on this, what we're going to do is simply pop the linkage out and prop the door open so that it stays open all the time. There's no harm that can come from this, just better airflow down low. So what you're going to do, it's pretty simple. You're going to prop the door open, and with your finger you're going to pop this linkage out this way, and simply allow the linkage to sit in front of the post, or I'm sorry, behind the post. And there, simply stays open. Now when we reinstall this airbox, we're not going to plug in the electronics portion right here. Like I said, there won't be any harm to the engine or anything like that, no check engine lights or anything, but basically you'll get the full benefit of the airflow down at the low RPMs, not just above 4,500 RPM. So this is a very good mod to do, costs you absolutely nothing. So now what we're going to do is install the Madness high flow air filter into this John Cooper Works airbox. Simply unpack it. You can kind of see the filter here, it's quite nice. High flow unit, band clamp that's on here. So one of the key things to installing this filter, and what makes it really easy or can make it a total nightmare, is you have to really loosen this clamp quite a bit, just enough so that it's literally barely hanging on at this point. Because what happens is when you put this, we designed this so that when you put it on top of the mount for the airbox, it's a real tight fit. So the silicone portion of this filter wants to stretch around that. So you have to give it room to expand. And so that's why we're going to loosen this clamp up as much as we can right now. So simply take a screwdriver and just back it off as much as you can without actually releasing the whole clamp. So that's pretty good. You can kind of tell it flops on there, back and forth quite a bit. And then with a little bit of force, you can kind of slide this thing right on. Make sure that there's not any dirt around the edge of this filter when you put it on, or the edge of this ring when you put it on. And then put it, simply put it on and kind of force it onto there. Use a little bit of brute force to do it, but you can get it. There. So now it's on. You can kind of see the filter's on there. And so what we're going to do is kind of, with our hands, kind of rotate this clamp around so we can get to the tightening mechanism easier. Sometimes if it slides down, you can just use the screwdriver to kind of pull it up. Sometimes, or actually, sorry, what's even easier is you can just rotate the filter like that, like so. Just brings that clamp closer into view. Okay, so once again, make sure that it's fully seated. And then right now the clamp is a little bit snug, so all you're going to do is give it a couple light turns just to kind of snug it a little more. You don't want to do too much, just enough so it's not flopping around. That's about it. Okay, so now the filter's on there, pretty nice and steady. If you tighten that too much, what it'll do is, since the lip of that, the lip on the airbox that the filter actually slides onto is actually pretty short, and so if you tighten that clamp down too much, it'll actually squeeze the filter off. So you don't want to do that. So just tighten it just ever so slightly, enough to hold it on there. Then you're going to reuse this piece again and kind of put it back on. So set it in place, and this is what does the majority of the work, holding this filter in place. And remember, you're screwing into plastic, so don't over tighten it or you can strip the threads of the plastic. Just to kind of hold it in place. And there you have it. So this way, it keeps that filter from pretty much going anywhere. And we've got our modification in there. Okay? And basically installation is the reverse of